Create an outdoor story hunt for your child this summer. This is where adventure and literature collide. One of the best ways to keep kids engaged in learning during the summer months is through reading. By encouraging your child to read, you can help them develop important skills such as critical thinking, creativity, and empathy. We know this already. It has been thumped into our heads for years. We need to have our kids read. We need to encourage our kids to read over the summer time. But then sometimes you get that child that is just one of those kids who doesn't love to read. I have one of those. Well, what if I told you you can take reading to a whole new level? It's like, what does that even mean? What if you could turn your child's love of literature, if they have it, or you can incentivize them if they don't have it with an outdoor adventure. So this is where an outdoor story hunt comes in. What the heck is an outdoor story hunt? An outdoor story hunt is basically a scavenger hunt with a plot. Children solve puzzles and clues based on a story. Often there is a background story that complements the story hunt it is centered around to explain why the children are going from one place to another or why they need to solve the puzzle in the first place, like the riddles or the puzzles. The children must solve the clue to find the next location in the hunt and then be given more puzzles towards solving the entire hunt. Planning the hunt. To plan an outdoor story hunt, you will need to choose a story to base your hunt on, decide on the location of the hunt, write the clues, hide the clues, plan the activities. Choose a theme. When it comes to choosing a theme, your choices are limitless. You can base your hunt around a popular children's book, a genre like adventure, or you can even do an outdoor story hunt based on a movie. You will want to choose a story they have read, or you can use the hunt. Actually, if you're really clever, you can use the hunt as an incentive to read the book. So you're giving away little pieces that you know that they will be really interested in, but obviously you don't want to give away any of those important bits. You can combine an outdoor story hunt with the summer reading challenge, and I'll have a link for that, and create a fun hunt as the reward or incentive after your child has read the book. Seriously, if I had done this with my boys and said, I will create an elaborate story hunt for every book you read over the summer, they would have read so many books and I would have been really busy. And if I had known about this, honestly, I would have been willing to do that just to get them to read. Now with my older one, it would have been hard because this kid I couldn't get to stop reading. He would read at meals. But the younger one, I bet you I could have gotten him to read a whole lot more. It does not matter which theme you pick, only that you do choose one. Not only does a theme give you a direction and structure to gear the hunt, but it also helps ensure that the clues and riddles that you create are relevant and they're engaging for the child. Because sometimes if you just give a child just a whole bunch of logic puzzles or riddles or that kind of thing, they aren't as engaged. But if they're all related to this plot and this story that you have going on, they make sense and the child gets really excited about it. So let's start with an outdoor story hunt based on the book, The BFG by Roald Dahl. You need a backstory to keep the players interested and understanding why they are moving from place to place. First, Sophie and the BFG have been captured by the other giants. The entire goal is to break out of giant country to visit the Queen of England. Great. Now we have a goal and we have a backstory. Your story is going to be the conversations between Sophie and the BFG about the obstacles they face as they try to break out of giant country. Another outdoor story hunt can be based on genre. Your child loves adventure stories. More specifically, they love pirate stories. Create a backstory of, say, 3 of the main pirates from your child's favorite pirate books and how they have to work together to find a treasure that will enable them to get off of a desert island that they have all been, I don't know, marooned on or placed on, or somehow they all ended up there. That would be part of your backstory. The obstacles can include finding food, water, getting fire. Maybe they need shelter. Another huge obstacle, especially if your children are older and can understand this concept, can be trusting each other. You can use nautical terms and pirate language in your puzzles and clues and riddles. The most important factors to consider when choosing your theme is, does it interest your child? Do you know it well? So if you haven't read the book, you probably should, because you're going to want to know the story really, really well. And can you create a backstory, puzzles, and clues around this theme? Plan the hunt. You have your theme and books that you will be working from. Now you need to decide where you will have the hunt. This can be in your backyard, in the neighborhood, a park, the beach, a trail, etc. Just make sure you have permission and the kids can be running around safely. So if you're doing it in a public, like park or whatever, you just need to make sure you have permission to be doing whatever it is you're doing there. How many puzzles do you want your children to solve? A lot of this is going to be connected with how long do you want your hunt to take? One way the hunt can take a long time is through distance. So if the children have to cover a lot of ground, or if they're constantly going back and forth to get their new clues, that will take longer. Another way you can create a long-lasting outdoor hunt is by creating a lot of clues to solve. Map it all out. Just keep in mind the weather, the age of your children, and the time of day. These are odd things to consider. Okay, well, remember, I had boys, so I am coming from the aspects of what I experienced as a mother of my 2 boys. I also live in Arizona. So my boys were not going to go outside and do a scavenger hunt, no matter how excited they were, if it was during a monsoon or if it was 98-degree weather. We only have a few of those 98-degree weather days during the summer, but for us, because our temperature can be fairly mild, even on the 92-degree days, that's really stinking hot. We don't want to go outside during those days. They also could not have cared about almost anything when it was food time. They were hugely food oriented. So I would definitely schedule my hunt for a time when we had good weather. And since that could not be controlled, I would make this an easy to reschedule type of hunt. So I would make it pretty flexible. I don't think I would do the hunt where you actually physically hide clues. I would do mine more of a, so you're going to open this clue and then this will happen somehow. I would have done that, or the clues I could easily go place. And it would have been between 9 and 11 or 1 to 4, depending on the length of the hunt. Will you need anyone else? Well, it depends. Is this going to be a go to this location and find your clue, solve this puzzle, and it will send you to the next location type of hunt? Or are you going to have people dressed up along the hunt that will help with the clues and the backstory and their characters from the book? Those kind of hunts where you have the characters from the story definitely appeal to your younger kiddos and keep them engaged for a longer period of time. Create clues and riddles. To create an engaging and challenging outdoor story hunt for your child, you'll need to come up with riddles and clues that fit their ages and abilities. Clues should lead them on a journey through the great outdoors where they can explore and learn while having fun. Here are some tips for creating clues and riddles. 1, start with that theme or genre. 2, keep it age appropriate. You don't want them to get too frustrated or bored. 3, use nature as your inspiration. What I mean by this is you can hide a clue behind a tree or under a rock, or you can use as the location like shadows based on the sun or something like that if you're really smart. I'm thinking of those, solar sun clocks where you have the shadows tell you kind of the time. That would be really cool for your older kids. Make it challenging. You want your child to feel challenged and proud of themselves when they've actually solved each clue. And number 5, have fun. Remember, the entire point of this outdoor story hunt is to have an absolutely fabulous fun time. One observation I would like to note is if you are creating a really large and fun story hunt that will accommodate several groups. For example, if you did a reading challenge for a bunch of people, or you did a book club for a bunch of kids, consider doing different routes. So what this means is that when one group or one child goes one way from one clue, another one gets taken off in a different direction. That way, kids don't have to not solve their clues and just tag along with another group. Make it interactive. So the beauty of the story hunt is that by its very nature, it already is interactive, but you can also make it more interactive by when children move place to place, they have to do additional things like, hop up and down on one leg, sing a crazy song, tell a riddle, or, I don't know, draw a picture, those kind of things. By creating that kind of interactive experience, you can help your child develop their imagination, creativity, and critical thinking skills. Make it educational for your child by having more information and fun facts happen when they're going from place to place. They won't even notice that they're learning, and the adventure is already primed to have these kind of things happen. So what kind of things can you include in those educational bits? So you can include things like facts about the author, or what if their whole book is like a storybook about animals? You can do fun facts about those kind of animals or concepts, or historical events that have been alluded to in the story or that happen in different times. This will not only make the story more interesting, but your children will find that they're enjoying it on a different level. Remember, we're leveling up for this. What does an outdoor story hunt actually look like? I had the pleasure of participating in a story hunt May of this last year. I was so excited. I had already decided to talk to you about outdoor story hunts, but I'd never actually been in one. Well, now I have. And I want to totally break it down for you step by step, so that even though this one might have been done a little bit differently, it will totally get the imagination and the ideas flowing in your head. So number 1, people formed teams ahead of time. 2, each person in the team downloaded the Questo app. Questo is a company that specifically creates hunts for you, and they do it all over, I think, the world, but specifically the United States. And you pay for them, but they then create them all. The puzzles and clues are geared towards adults, so I would say they're geared towards adults. The story we did was The Oz Escape, which is based on The Wizard of Oz. 3, each team was timed based on the time that they started on a specific day. So it was actually held on a specific day for that event in our hometown. I have done other events that weren't story events, but scavenger hunts outdoors that are already done on a website that you can do. Strayboots is one of my favorites, and both of these links will be in the notes. We did Little Italy and Chinatown in New York, and it was a lot of fun, and the kids could easily do it because you were learning historical facts. Those are not based on a certain day or anything. You just plug in and you do it as your family when you want to, and it makes going to these places much more fun. But as far as the story events, it was done this way. Now, the reason it was timed is because we actually were one of the top 500 teams to have ever done Escape from Oz. That was kind of exciting for my team. Honestly, I'm not real competitive, so I didn't care. 4, the clues took us all over walking distance downtown Prescott. 5, we would first get a GPS map and coordinates, basically, of where to go. 6, on the way to where we were going, we were given odd facts about L. Frank. 7, when we were within, I think, 50 feet of the actual coordinates, it would on our phones. And then 8, we had one person from our group was appointed narrator, and they would read aloud that little, and it was only like one little thing on your smartphone, that little story, because that story would tell us why we were in that place doing that puzzle. Then we would go to the next screen, which was the puzzle. So, for example, the story talked and had been captured. That puzzle was unlocking the cage door. 9, each of the members then tried to solve the puzzle. When one person had solved it, they would give clues or answers to everybody, and then we all had to answer it on our phones. 10, with the right answer, the next GPS location unlocked, and the cycle began again. We all raced to the next location while we were given another fun fact on L. Frank Baum. There was nothing to win at the end. There was no like, oh my gosh, you know, you guys won for all of Prescott, therefore you guys get to eat for free at our favorite restaurant. There was nothing like that. But it was all fun. At some of the stops, we had to take a silly group picture or say words that ended up in like one of the languages of the thing in the Wizard of Oz or something. Balance on one foot, crazy things like that. This company has figured out the marketing and the best way to make money with their hunts. They use smartphones. As parents, we obviously don't want our kids on screens. So we would want them outside engaging with others. However, I just kind of thought that by showing you the blow by blow and letting you see how this outdoor story hunt was done, you would better be able to structure yours so that you could, see the flow. An outdoor story hunt is a fabulous activity that will get your kids moving and using their brains. Outdoor story hunts provide a fun and engaging way to encourage your children to read and explore. Who would think that you can read and explore not in your mind, but actually outside together? Your child will love these so much that they will beg you to create more of them. This means you can use them as incentives for finishing up reading this summer, for doing their chore. I mean, the possibilities, like I said at the top, are limitless. Your child will not even realize that they have convinced themselves to get their reading time in without complaining. So why not give it a try? You may be surprised not only by how much your child enjoys them, but by how much fun you have in creating them. The movie quote for this week: I'm not a hero. I'm a real cop, and we're going to solve this case together. Judy Hopps in Zootopia.